Alrighty, welcome back to WWE 2K26. Last time we reenacted Montreal, now to fix something else in the past, I guess. Oh! Punk or Cactus? You know what? Let's, ooh, tempting, yep. We're gonna stick with Punk, honestly, for this.
Feels good to execute some long overdue showcase justice. Now, I'd like to switch gears, indulge myself a little, and use this technology to go up against 3 WWE legends that I've dreamed of competing against in a WWE ring. First up is a trip to the land of the extreme, ECW. When I first made it to WWE, I started on their ECW brand, but I always wondered how I do in the original ECW. Who would I face, you ask? Who is CM Punk's dream ECW opponent? Well, you know me, I aim high. And if I went to ECW and didn't call out the king of the death match, the hardcore icon, if I didn't call out Cactus Jack to show me what extreme truly means, then what am I even doing here? The most violent of Mick Foley's alter egos, Cactus Jack tormented foes in the United States, Puerto Rico, Japan, basically anywhere that had glass, barbed wire, and fire was a place he wanted to compete. But I'd want my match to be at Hardcore Heaven 1994, a show made famous when the fans threw so many chairs into the ring it covered both Cactus and Terry Funk as well.
Please do not throw chairs into the ring! Stop the chairs!
Cactus Jack was a master of the Falls Count Anywhere match. It allowed him to be at his very best, and that is exactly what I want here. Whether you take me into battle or side with Cactus, you need to know that you're going to be in for a fight. But proving yourself against CM Punk is just as valuable as proving yourself as CM Punk, so you win either way. And I get to live out my dream no matter what.
Well, okay then. Yes. So, looks like we're taking on Cactus Jack, one of the 3 faces of Foley. If you know what that means, great. If you don't know, easiest way to describe it is Foley had 3 different characters. Really, I guess you could say 4 different characters he ended up portraying in his time in wrestling. You had Cactus Jack, who was, as CM Punk had affably mentioned, the crazed maniac who would beat you up, beat himself up, and, you know, the sight of blood, his or yours, just got him even more motivated to keep kicking butt. His second was the more known in WWE, was this kind of twisted mental character, Mankind. He always had his promos in the boiler room, he was always talking to himself, and he seemed as crazy mentally, whereas Cactus Jack was crazy. Well, I mean, both were, I guess, crazy mentally, just a different kind. Cactus Jack was more an extreme, angry person, whereas Mankind was more like, I guess you could say, like a depressed person, where he would kind of put himself in situations and just leave himself alone to think and think all these bad things, and then he would act on those bad things on you, so he wouldn't act them on himself. And then you had the hippie dude Love, who was just straight up passed on peace and love, and that's it. That's all he did. Mick Foley is an icon in wrestling. As he mentioned, he would really take on anywhere, known for doing anything of many dangerous bumps, many insane. I did mention earlier in the showcase he had a bump at a King of the Ring when he faced The Undertaker, in which The Undertaker threw him off the cell and then later through the cell. That's one of his many crazy bumps that he took, at least in WWE. ECW, he was known for a lot of his work. He worked with a lot of the younger talent and helped bring them up. He was an amazing talent. He truly won. I want to say he won all. I know he won the tag team championships with Mikey Whipwreck at least once, and a couple other people. The event he is talking about Hardcore Haven, where this would take quote-unquote place, is, yeah, known for that famous chair shot, that those chairs, and the opponents that Foley and Terry Funk were facing at the time was the Public Enemy. They were just a group of guys known for throwing chairs and hitting people with chairs. That's what they were known for. As there's always something he had to be known for in ECW, he was known but, you know, that's beside the point. And I don't know if you're able to hear it in the video, but, I mean, you probably will, or you were able to hear the announcer yelling at the crowd to stop throwing the chairs in the ring, and it was more or less for the safety of all of them. ECW was one of those companies, I believe I did touch up on it, it was like Rebels. They did not care. The only thing they cared about was the safety of their talent, and they cared about the fans. I mean, the safety of their talent, maybe a bit of a stretch. Just on the grounds, they basically was like, yeah, we don't care. Do whatever you want, make it good. But make sure, kind of, you know, no one's broken at the end of it. And by that, I mean, make sure nobody gets in the hospital. Didn't necessarily last. Anywho, CM Punk did mention he did get a start in the WWE, revived ECW. That was not so good. Because they basically took away all of the Extreme and kept the wrestling. They basically took the Extreme and the Championships and just left the wrestling. And it was not that good. The biggest star it made was definitely CM Punk. Sheamus got his start there. Kofi Kingston got his start there as well. And there's some more modern people that you would know from there. It was also kind of one of those things, if they didn't know what to do with you talent-wise, they sent you to ECW. One of the first people that was on the WWE rebranded ECW was Kurt Angle before he ended up leaving for TNA and just had a really good career there. He actually spent more time in TNA than he did in WWE, believe it or not. And Matt Hardy was kind of one of the last few on that ECW brand, as well as Christian Cage, before WWE inevitably were like, yeah, this isn't doing any good, let's get rid of it and make it a new show, because it's not working. And it wasn't working because you weren't doing what it was known for, one. But I understand, like, that aspect. You do have to appeal to the advertisers. You have to make sure you can get money to the product. But on top of that, they had 3 pay-per-views under the WWE banner. 2 of them were good. 1 of them was terrible. And that terrible pay-per-view basically ended it. They had like 2 ECW one-night stands in 2005, 2006. 2005 was, I think, the worst of the 2 shows, but the 2006 show, I believe, was referred to as the better of the 2. But then again, that's all a matter of opinion. But the worst show, pay-per-view that ECW had put on, kind of on their Lonesome brand, was December to Dismember. It was not good. Why wasn't it good? Well, first match of the night, the Hardy Boys are taking on Eminem, Joey Mercury, and Johnny Nitro with Melina in a ladder match. Now, on paper, that's a great match. However, an accidental mistake with the ladder causes Joey Ryan to bust his nose open very badly. So credit to him for finishing the match with a busted nose. And truly the writing on the wall was the fact that the match was headlined by an Extreme Elimination Chamber match, which is one of these things on paper. Sounds like it should be a really good match. 6 people inside the Elimination Chamber. Each person gets a weapon of their choice to bring in the chamber. And it's great. And Paul Heyman, who was one of the writers for ECW, and Vince McMahon, the guy who basically said yes and the guy who said no, did not like any of Heyman's ideas. Vince wanted, I believe, Bobby Lashley to be the face of the ECW brand. Heyman wanted, surprise, surprise, CM Punk to be the face of the brand. So much so that in a couple of interviews when he's been asked about his time with ECW and WWE, he basically had explained, I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do to leave the backstage area, because for some reason, it never lets me leave the backstage area, but it'll let him leave. So if you can just actually guide me out back to the ring so we can finish these objectives, no. Fine. Okay. That's not what I wanted. And I don't want to waste my resilience. Okay, I don't need to waste the resiliency here. Anyway. So, Heyman had said, fine, Lashley can win. I'll concede that. I still want Punk to look good. It's like, so how about we do this? Punk takes on Big Show. Big Show was planning on leaving for an extended period of time anyway. So how about we have Punk and Big Show start the match, and Punk makes Big Show submit to the Anaconda Vice in like under 3 minutes. Just he gets a hold of him, gets ahead of him, and makes him submit in less than 3 minutes. He shot it down. He's like, okay, well then can Punk at least enter last? So I believe he has a chance, and then he can lose. No. And Vince basically said none of that was happening. So seriously, when prompted, dragging it upon. Okay. Oh, so I have to be near the vending machine? Really? That's ridiculous. Anywho, basically, Vince's kind of FU to Heyman was he made Punk first man in, first man out. And Lashley won. And of course, there was no more ECW branded pay-per-views after that. ECW was then co-branded pay-per-views, or they were just tacked on to other events. And realistically, everyone in ECW did have some form of job, like Joey Styles. He ended up commentating for WWE for a while, but he didn't, his words, and he had a great promo where he ripped the company alive, as well as Vince McMahon, just on the grounds of it's the, hey, you all want me to do these, but I'm trying to make these guys look good. The WWE version of ECW was not good. And if you do want to see it, don't. If you want to see ECW, you should try and find it in the true form as well as best you can now, because of the WWE Network not being a thing and the archives on Peacock not happening anytime soon that I know of. And I highly doubt ESPN's going to get the archives. Supposedly Netflix is getting them, but they seem to be working on SmackDown, Raw, and all the WWE stuff before they work on getting their own stuff. Before they work on putting in the ECWs, WCWs, and all the territories that Vince McMahon had bought up. But if that's not, which I hope they are able to release, because you can learn a lot about wrestling from those old tapes, how those promos used to go, how they used to do things. So I hope they find a way to keep it and not kind of have them under lock and key. I can also understand having them under lock and key if nobody watched them. If nobody watches them, why waste your money keeping them on a product, keeping them around? I will say that, though. But I need to get out of this mess, because I'm not happy. Oh, I am shocked I kicked out of that. Okay, we got some faith in me. Let's go, reverse. Alright, 2 dive attacks from the top while he's down. We'll have, okay. Have him reconsidering. I'm responding. Alright, man, get up. Let's see. Okay, up. Now, if I can just... no, why'd you have to get up? Wait, it says dive attacks. Yeah, while he's down. So he has to be basically on the mat, or I guess on the floor. This is taking me way longer than it should, and I don't like it. Oh, he's got the kendo stick. Yeah, speaking of kendo stick, a weapon that was known in ECW, that was Sandman's weapon. And it was kind of interesting, the story behind how he got associated with that was Heyman basically read a story about someone in layman's terms doing something they weren't supposed to do in a foreign country, and the punishment for that was a caning. So they caned the kid, and Heyman was like, hey, see what you can do with this, because this happened in this country, means we can probably get away with using it here. And he did. Alright, win by pinfall or submission, and it's... Oh, it wants me to use the plunge. It wants me to use the Pepsi plunge. We are so using the Pepsi plunge. I mean, realistically, he would use the Pepsi plunge in this situation if it was in '94, as it wasn't owned by WWE. And, okay, not what I wanted to do, but it's at least going to get him near the ropes, which is what I needed to do. Lift him up, grab, and toss, and plunge. Alright. Yeah, it would have been here because, yeah, finisher everywhere else but WWE. Because can't have a pedigree, but you can steal a dude's move from Japan, and then make the dude who made the move in Japan not use it when you sign him to the company for like 3 years. I don't blame Kenta for leaving. Alright. Punk, we won. He defeats Cactus Jack. Yeah. I'm not going to say realistically that's what would happen, because this is also putting this version of CM Punk and not, we'll say realistically, a 2000 CM Punk in here, because, I mean, if we're going to do that, we're at least going to be realistic. It would be 2000 CM Punk and 2000 Mick Foley, who might have been in WWE at the time. Anywho, that's it for this episode. Later.